cast out an evil spirit, but they were unable to. And when the people saw that what Paul did was not hocus pocus, but that they were really wrestling with spirits, the Bible says they burnt their books. They burnt those books. They burnt those false teachings that they were given to by their theology professors. They burnt those books that were given to them by those by their seminary teachers. They took those commentaries. They took all of that heresy, and they took it and they burnt those books. Oh yes, we could talk about burning Harry Potter books. We could talk about burning magic and witchcraft, brothers and sisters. But what about that witchcraft that our pastors are reading in our seminaries? What about that witchcraft that they're studying from and getting these ideas from? What about that witchcraft? What about this apologetics? What about all that witchcraft that they're studying? Brothers and sisters, some of that must be thrown and burned. And so when they burned these books, there was a great sum of money that came as that they found that all of this stuff was worth, and it was burnt. But all of a sudden, as they began to move on in their ministry, the Bible tells us in verse, you're in Acts 19 now, it tells us in verse 21. Let's start in verse 21. Acts 19. Verse 21. I pray that you're still with me, brothers and sisters. Notice what it says in Acts 19, verse 21. And after these things were ended, Paul purposed in the Spirit, when he had passed through Macedonia and Achaia, to go to Jerusalem, saying, after I have been there, I must also see Rome. So he sent into Macedonia, two of them that ministered unto him, Timotheus and Erastus, but he himself stayed in Asia for a season. And the same time, there arose no small stir about that way. In other words, they're coming now to Macedonia, and the glory of the Lord is going before them. And so now their reputation is preceding them. It's going forth. People are knowing that these are the ministers who brought about a revival in the city of Ephesus. Wherever Paul went, there was a revival and a riot. He revived the sincere in heart, but he caused a riot from those who spoke evil of his way. When you read Acts 19, there were many in the synagogues who were seeking to cause Paul's ministry to be silenced. Just like today, there are many who are, as it were, are circling the wagon. There are many, and I'm not talking about the open liberals or even the conservatives for that fact, but I'm talking about there are those who call themselves present truth, who call themselves circling the wagon. In other words, they're circling the conference. They want to protect the conference from all of this talk about revival and reformation. They want to protect the church from individuals who are willing to call sin by its right name. So they feel as though that they have to gather their wagons and they got to circle the conference. And they want to say, yes, don't listen to him. Don't go to his church. Stay away from him. You know, they want to circle the wagons, as it were. They're circling and they're trying to protect. They call it the conference. They just want to, they'll just come on your page. They just want to give a balanced view of things. And then there are others who are outright snakes in the grass. They won't come right forth and say where they are. They'll just be silent. But they're becoming frustrated. You know why? Because everywhere they go, someone says, wow, do you know Andrew Enriquez? Do you know Pastor Kofer? Do you know Kenny Offs? Do you know these individuals? And they say, yeah, I know them. Stay away from them. They're offshoots. Why are they offshoots? Because they're telling people that, no, they're not telling people to leave the church. They're telling people to stop sitting up under false teachings and listening to doctrines of devils. But no, they shouldn't be doing that. They're offshoots. And so they're getting frustrated because everywhere they go, they're finding people who are asking them, hey, do you know these individuals? And they feel like they got to protect their interests. Why? Because they know that they're not saying that. And so they feel like, man, I got to get up and I got to say something. And so they get in the pulpit and they go on tangents to make sure that they let you know that, man, you shouldn't support these people's ministries. But when it comes to other things, they just silent as can be. So this is what happened in Paul's time. And like I said, my friends, those who feel that God is calling them into ministry, you're going to be put in some positions where people are not going to accept you. But my friend, you must learn to draw warmth from their coldness. You must press forward in spite of what they think. There are many who have labored with you, many who have prayed with you, many who have laughed with you. You will find to be turning their backs on you. But yes, in your humanity, you will become saddened. In your humanity, you will be saying, Lord, but they were my friends. In your humanity, you will feel hurt, but you must link up with Christ's divinity and gain strength and move forward in spite of what is happening around you. You must press forward in spite of it, my friend. Says it's absurd. Now, let me tell you something. There are people who have been predicting the Sunday law since I've known them. Every event, Sunday law. The Pope was supposed to come just a few weeks ago, and he was supposed to announce the Sunday law. Everyone got everybody all up hyped and man, the Sunday law's coming, and nothing changed in their lives. Back to business as usual. Left the Pope alone. Now they're on the Ben Carson. Well, the Pope was about to do it. Well, he didn't do it. Guess what? So now they think Ben Carson's going to bring the Sunday law. They just keep jumping from one thing to another, from one event to another. And brothers and sisters, you hear it and you jumping right in there. Why? And they're using all these gimmicks. Just keep pulling you in. They just using these gimmicks, keep pulling you in. And then all of a sudden, if Ben Carson ever drops out of the race, then they need something else to bring about a prediction so that they can just keep the masses excited. Why? Because they have nothing to talk about. The Pope, now the Pope is gone. Now Ben Carson is the greatest thing since Wonder Bread. Now everyone's looking to Ben Carson to bring about the Sunday law. Prediction after prediction. People just running after one event to another, one event to another, one event to another. Before with the Pope, it was Y2K. Before it was Y2K, it was after Y2K, it was 9/11. After 9/11 was off, it was something. After this was off, and then it's something. It's always something, brothers and sisters. We're getting excited about nothing. We're not excited about studying the Word of God line upon line, here a little, there a little, but every time we turn around, Sunday law's coming. And before people are getting aroused, but you don't even realize it, they're not even moving anymore. They're unconcerned. We're just using these things and people are being lured to sleep. And guess what? Some people are just turning it off. Some people are not even paying attention, not even looking to it. They're not even concerned anymore. Bush was supposed to do something. There was a cartoon that was put out, and it was a political cartoon, and it had Bush, a drawing of Bush, and it had a Sunday law bill in his hand. He said, "My religious wing would sure love this bill," and it was a Sunday law. Bush was supposed to pass Sunday law before he got out of office. Yes, so after 9/11, the next thing was Bush was supposed to pass the Sunday law before he got out of office. Something catastrophic was supposed to happen, and Bush was not supposed to get out of office. He was supposed to bring about the national Sunday law. I was telling the brothers the other day, we were meeting, Pastor Enriquez and Pastor Kofor and I was in Orlando, Florida in 2000, and I was there at the Sportsplex, and we were watching the television. And what did it say? It was when Gore and Bush was running. And it was when that whole thing got caught up with the ballot, with the count in Florida. And they were going to go to the Supreme Court because they had to do a recount to see who was going to win. And just before, and I believe it was a Monday, I'm not sure the exact day, but I believe maybe around a Monday, the representative from the Vatican came on television and he says, "We are behind Bush and we believe that Gore should stop running." The next day, Gore pulls out and Bush becomes the president. All eyes were on Bush. Bush dedicated John Paul's Museum there in Washington, D.C. And what did he say? We have our very own Vatican right here in the D.C. And brothers and sisters, if you ever go there, it looks just like one side of it looks like it looks like the Pantheon, which was the asylum for the gods. And it looks like a sun, and it is a sundial. It is built like a sundial. It looks like the Pantheon, but it is built to represent a sundial. Now, Bush was supposed to pass the Sunday law. Everyone was excited. For what? I don't know, but they thought he was going to pass the Sunday law. It was never supposed to happen, but he leaves office. Barack Obama comes. Maybe Barack Obama maybe he's the Nimrod. Nimrod was black, so maybe he's going to pass the Sunday law. But nothing happens. But then all of a sudden, things start happening. ISIS comes along. And all of a sudden, the big thing is Islam. And then you have preachers running around talking about Islam. Islam is the scourge. Islam is going to bring the Sunday law. And so you had that excitement flare up for a time. And people fanatically rushed off into that. And some people are still stuck in fanaticism. Islam is bringing about the Sunday law. And so the devil has his fanatics over there. Then all of a sudden now that died down. Nothing happened for a while. Everyone was still running around thinking about the Sunday law. But then all of a sudden the Pope has announced he's coming to America. All of a sudden, wait a minute. Something else was supposed to happen in September. Everyone was looking for the financial market to crash. Everyone was all on pins and needles because of what? What's the gentleman's name? Because of, oh Lord, because John Hagee wrote a book called The Four Bloody Moons. And he was predicting in this book that something was supposed to happen in September. And so now the buzz is going around in churches that something was supposed to happen in September. And they had no idea that this came from John Hagee. The Four Bloody Moons. But wait a minute. The Pope was also coming. Sunday law. To doom. People are afraid. They don't know what to do. They're on pins and needles. They're running around. They're sending out 700,000 great controversy with no follow-up work behind, but we'll deal with that another time. Everyone's all aglow and running around here and doing this and doing that, and everyone's all excited. The Pope is coming. He's going to pass the national Sunday law. Let's go down there to see if we can go to hell too. And they're running down there to D.C. and all these places, and they're doing all this stuff, but he doesn't. And they scratching their heads. And everybody holding these little Bible studies. Pope Francis, 666. And everyone has got all these little meetings going. And they're just, but the Pope doesn't do it. Nothing happens. Pope leaves. They all confused. I didn't think nothing was going to happen. Brothers and sisters, I told you wasn't nothing going to happen. Now all of a sudden they act like they didn't know what was going on. They didn't scare. They weren't on the hype. But now all of a sudden he's gone. What's left? Ben Carson. Ben Carson's our man. If the Pope can't do it, if the Pope can't do it, Ben can. Ben, he's our man. The Pope can't do it. Surely Ben Carson can bring on the Sunday law. And so now everyone's jumped on the bandwagon for Ben Carson. Ben Carson, 666. Ben Carson and the Antichrist. Why? Because they're just trying to they don't have nothing else to preach because they're not reading these books. They're not reading them, brothers and sisters. So they're just jumping on these different excitements. And what happens? Ben Carson steps out of the way. Then what are we going to look for next? Hillary Clinton. Oh, Hillary Clinton is going to bring the Sunday law. She's going to do it. I knew she's going to do it. She's going to do it. Everyone's getting all excited. For what? But they won't read their Bibles. They won't pick up volume 1 and read these things through. They just want to jump here and jump here. They want to focus on the last 4 chapters of the Great Controversy, and they believe they understand how this thing is going to happen. They could tell you what's going to happen next, and brothers and sisters, it's going to happen, but they never tell you when and how, because they don't know, but they won't lead on that they don't know, but they keep pulling you along. Why? Because you're gullible, because you're ignorant, and you're afraid. But if you study, you won't be ignorant anymore. And if you study, their fear won't be your fear. You'll learn to fear God. Let me close, brothers and sisters. It says, it's been accounted as absurd. It has been confidently declared that this land could never become other than what it has been. The defenders of religious freedom. But as the question of enforcing Sunday observance is widely agitated, the event so long doubted and disbelieved is seen to be approaching. And the third angel, watch this, and the third angel will produce an effect which it could not have had before. All these little fanatical jump up excitements and dying. I remember, brothers and sisters, when Y2K was coming, people ran to the country and bought country property. They're back in the cities. They're determined never to go again. And people still keep trying to get the people excited over nothing. I've been telling you, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to keep telling you. I tell my wife, she comes, she asks me something, I say, read. You don't believe it? Read. You don't understand it? Read. I'm saying what I'm saying, not because I sit down and I listen to sermons on YouTube. I don't say what I believe because I watch sermons on live stream. I say what I say because I'm reading, brothers and sisters. I'm watching, I'm praying, I'm asking God, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do?